It's pink, she whispers, her fingers sliding along my chest, eyes locked on mine with dangerous sweetness. Do you want to see? My breath catches as she points, not where I thought. My heart stops completely when I realize what she's really showing me. The golden theater light makes her smile look like trouble wrapped in silk. Before we continue, please like this video, subscribe, and let me know where you are watching from. I stand frozen like a statue in this old theater. Harper moves closer, and the air gets thick like honey. She holds something small and pink in her hands. Her fingers dance around it like she's playing with fire. The way she looks at me makes my skin feel electric. Cole, she says, my name like it's a secret. Her voice is soft but dangerous, like velvet hiding sharp edges. She tilts her head and her hair falls over one shoulder. The pink thing in her hands catches the light from above us. The theater around us feels alive. Old red curtains hang heavy on the walls. Gold paint shimmers on the ceiling like stars. But I can't look away from her. She has this power that pulls me in like gravity. She takes one step closer, then another. Her heels click on the wooden floor like a countdown. The pink silk scarf in her hands moves like water. She holds it up between us, and it floats in the warm air. I've been waiting to show you this, she says. Her eyes sparkle with mischief. Like she knows something I don't, like she's been planning this moment for weeks. The scarf dances in her fingers like it's alive. My mouth goes dry. My heart pounds so hard I think she can hear it. The old ceiling fans spin lazy circles above us. They push the sweet smell of her perfume my way. It makes my head spin. She reaches out and touches my arm. Just one finger, but it burns through my shirt like fire. You look scared, she teases. Her smile gets wider, more dangerous, more beautiful. I'm not scared, I manage to say. But my voice sounds rough, like I haven't spoken in hours. She laughs, and the sound fills the empty theater. It echoes off the walls like music. Good, she whispers. She holds the pink scarf higher. It catches the light and glows like sunset. Because what I'm about to show you will change everything between us. Her eyes never leave mine. Everything. The air crackles with something electric. Something that makes my skin tight and my breath shallow. She's still holding that pink silk like it holds all the secrets in the world. Like once she shows me, there's no going back. Are you ready? She asks. But she doesn't wait for my answer. She never does. Harper makes her own rules. She always has. And I'm about to find out exactly what she's been hiding behind that pink silk and dangerous smile. Let me tell you how this all started. My name is Cole, and I fix old buildings for a living. This theater was falling apart when I first walked in. Broken walls, cracked floors, dust everywhere. But I saw something beautiful hiding underneath all that mess. The city hired me to bring this place back to life. Make it shine again. But they gave me one rule that felt like chains around my wrists. I couldn't date anyone working on this project. No romance with vendors. Nothing. Just work. I signed that paper because I needed the job. Because I'm good at keeping promises. Because I thought it would be easy. Boy, was I wrong about that. The rule felt simple until I met her on my second day. Harper runs a dessert cart in the theater lobby. She makes sweet treats that smell like heaven and look like art. The first time I saw her, she wore all black, elegant dress that hugged her curves perfectly. But pink accessories everywhere. Pink ribbon around her wrist. Pink heels on her feet. Pink silk scarf tied to her cart handle. Like she marked herself with color on purpose. Like she wanted to stand out in a room full of shadows and dust. She was sliding trays of cookies into a glass case when I walked by. Her movements were smooth like dancing, careful like she was handling precious gems. The cookies looked like tiny sunsets, orange and gold and pink. Try one, she said. Without looking up, her voice was warm honey. Sweet, but with something sharp hiding underneath. She picked up a cookie and held it out to me. Her fingers were long and graceful. I took it because saying no felt impossible. The cookie had a soft snap when I bit down. Then flavor exploded on my tongue. Flowers and heat and something I couldn't name. Something that made my chest tight. What's that heat? I asked. She finally looked at me then. Her eyes were bright like stars, full of secrets and trouble. She took a small bite of her own cookie and smiled. A secret, she said. The way she said it made my pulse jump. made my skin feel warm. Like she was talking about more than just cookies. Like everything she did had hidden meanings. That's how it started. With cookies and secrets. And a woman who wore pink like armor. Who moved like music and talked like poetry. Who made me forget about rules and contracts and professional distance. Every day after that, I found reasons to walk by her cart. To check measurements near the lobby. To discuss paint colors with the crew right where she could hear. She always smiled when she saw me coming. She learned my name fast, started using it like a weapon. Cole, she would say. And the words sounded different in her mouth, softer, warmer, like she was tasting it before letting it go. I learned things about her too. She hummed when she worked, different songs for different treats. Her laugh echoed off the old walls like church bells. She wore those pink accessories like signals, like messages only I could read. The pink scarf became my favorite. She would touch it while we talked, run her fingers along the silk like she was petting a cat. Sometimes she would hold it up to catch the light, watch it float in the air. "Do you want to see it?" she asked one afternoon. Her finger traced the scarf slowly, back and forth like a hypnotist's watch. My mouth went dry watching her. "I mean, really see it. Feel how soft it is." My hands shook as I reached out. The silk felt like water between my fingers. Warm from her skin, smooth like nothing I'd ever touched. She watched my face the whole time, studying my reaction like a scientist. "Soft," I managed to say. My voice came out rough. She smiled like she'd won a game I didn't know we were playing. Then she pulled the scarf away, left my hands empty, and wanting more. The crew started to notice how we looked at each other, how we found excuses to be in the same room, how conversations stopped when we got close. The air changed when Harper was around. Got thicker, more electric. One day she needed to carry a heavy tray across the lobby. I was measuring wall angles nearby. She walked past me slow and careful, but her arm brushed mine as she passed. Just for a second. Fire shot through my whole body, like touching a live wire. She didn't apologize or look back, but I saw her smile as she kept walking. Saw the way her hips moved just a little more. She knew exactly what she'd done. My pencil went missing that same afternoon. I looked everywhere for it. Finally found Harper at her cart, tucking something behind her ear. My pencil. She'd stolen it like a magpie stealing shiny things. "Can I have that back?" I asked. She turned to face me with innocent eyes, like she had no idea what I was talking about. The pencil looked perfect, tucked in her dark hair. "Have what back?" she said. But her eyes danced with mischief, with the joy of someone who loved games, who loved making people chase what they wanted. She knew I was talking about more than just pencils. I stepped closer, close enough to smell her perfume, something sweet with spice hiding underneath. "You know what?" I said quietly. She tilted her head like she was thinking hard about my request. "I might," she whispered back. "But you'll have to catch me first." Then she laughed and walked away, left me standing there like a fool, heart pounding, hands empty, wanting things I couldn't have. The rule felt heavier after that, like chains getting tighter around my chest. Every smile she gave me was breaking the law. Every accidental touch was crossing a line. But I couldn't stay away from her, couldn't stop wanting more. If you're loving this tension, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what would you do if someone teased you like this? 3 weeks into the project, everything changed. The crew went home early that night, left me alone with measurements and dreams. The theater felt different in the dark, bigger, full of ghosts and possibilities. I heard her heels on the wooden floor before I saw her. Click, click, click like a heartbeat. Harper walked through the shadows wearing that same black dress. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt dangerous. "Working late again?" she asked. Her voice echoed off the empty walls. She carried a small lamp that threw golden circles on the floor. Made her look like she was glowing from inside. "Always," I said. But I put down my tools. Forgot about the measurements. She had that effect on me. Made the whole world shrink down to just her face. Just her voice in the darkness. She walked onto the stage like she owned it. Like she was meant to be there under the old lights. The wooden boards creaked under her feet. Music without instruments. She spun around once with her arms out. "Come here," she called. Not a request. A command wrapped in silk. I followed because saying no to Harper felt impossible, like fighting gravity or stopping rain. Some forces you just surrender to. The stage felt smaller with both of us on it, more electric. She reached for an old light switch and suddenly we were alone in a pool of gold. The rest of the theater disappeared into black. Better, she said. Her eyes reflected the light like mirrors, made her look like some kind of magic creature, something from fairy tales and dreams, something too beautiful for the real world. Tell me what you see, she said suddenly. Her voice got softer, more dangerous. She stood perfectly still in the center of the light, hands at her sides, waiting for my answer like it mattered. I see you, I said. But that felt too simple, too small for what was happening between us. She shook her head like that wasn't enough, like she wanted more from me. Look harder, she whispered. Took a step closer, close enough that I could see gold flecks in her dark eyes, could count her heartbeats and the pulse at her throat, could smell flowers and sugar on her skin. My brain went fuzzy. All those careful words I usually had just disappeared, left me standing there like a teenager, nervous and wanting and completely out of my depth. She waited with endless patience. I see a woman who makes everything louder by standing still, I finally said. The words came from somewhere deep, somewhere honest. I see the room noticing you, wanting to give you everything it has. Her smile bloomed slow and deadly, like sunrise over a battlefield, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. She tilted her head and studied my face, like she was reading a book. And what color is it? She asked. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper, made me lean closer to hear, made the space between us shrink to nothing. The feeling, what color is the room noticing me? I knew what she wanted, what game we were playing, but saying it out loud felt like jumping off a cliff, like crossing a line I could never uncross. My mouth went dry as sand. Pink, I said. The word hung between us like a bridge, like a confession, like a key turning in a lock. She heard it, and something changed in her eyes, something wild and satisfied. Then you do want to see, she said. Not a question anymore. A statement of fact. A promise that made my skin feel tight and hot. She turned and walked to the edge of the light. Wait, I called. But she was already stepping into the darkness, already leaving me alone with my racing heart and empty hands, already making me chase what I wanted most. The next morning brought trouble wearing expensive shoes. The client's assistant had sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. She pulled me aside during our morning meeting, smiled like a shark smelling blood. Keep proper distance, she said quietly. But everyone heard the warning underneath. Everyone knew what she really meant. Stay away from the pastry girl. Remember your contract. Remember your place. I nodded because I had to. Because I needed this job. Because breaking rules had consequences I couldn't afford. But inside I felt like something was dying. Like doors were slamming shut forever. Harper watched from across the room. Her face stayed calm, but her hands gripped her coffee cup too tight. White knuckles against pink nails. She understood what was happening, what they were taking away from us. That night I found her in the alley behind the theater. She leaned against brick walls, working pink salt into caramel with her thumb. Steam rose from the warm sugar like ghostwriting. She didn't look up when I stopped beside her. I'm sorry, I said to the darkness, to the woman who deserved better than half-hearted promises, who deserved someone brave enough to fight for what he wanted, instead of someone who folded at the first sign of trouble. For what? She asked. Still focused on the caramel, still mixing salt with the kind of patience that made everything beautiful. I didn't do anything I regret. Neither did you. There's a clause, I said. The words tasted bitter, like medicine or lies. About vendors, about keeping distance. I signed it before I knew, before I met you. She finally looked at me. Then her eyes were soft, but not sad. Like she was holding a secret that made everything else small. I know, she said simply. They told me 3 weeks ago. My heart stopped. You knew? The question came out sharp. Hurt, like she'd been lying this whole time. Playing games while I suffered. But her smile was gentle. Understanding. I wondered if you did, she said. Started screwing the lid on her jar with careful hands. Her bracelets sang soft songs in the quiet air. I figured if I waited, I'd learn something true about you. What did you learn? My voice sounded rough, like I'd been shouting or crying, like all my careful control was cracking apart. She studied my face for a long moment. That you don't like breaking rules, she said. Held up the jar so pink salt caught the streetlight. Looked like tiny stars trapped in glass. But you might, if someone asked you sweetly. She moved closer. Close enough that I could feel heat from her skin, could see my reflection in her eyes, could count the freckles on her nose like constellations. I want to be the reason you walk towards something, she whispered. Her words hit me like lightning, like truth wrapped in velvet, not away from yourself. The alley went completely quiet, like the whole world was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next, what choice I would make, what kind of man I really was. She reached out and touched my chest. Just one finger over my heart, but it burned through my shirt like fire, like a brand that would mark me forever. Her touch was gentle but firm. And it really is pink, she said with a smile that held all the mysteries of the universe. The jar of salt glowed between us like a promise, like hope made solid and sweet. The tension is killing me. Are you Team Harper or Team Cole? Drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Opening night arrived like a gift wrapped in gold paper. The theater glowed with new life. Fresh paint on the walls, clean floors that reflected the chandelier lights. People in fancy clothes filled every seat. Their laughter bounced off the restored ceiling. I stood in the lobby, watching the crowd. Men in black suits, women in bright dresses. Everyone looked happy, excited, like they were part of something special. Something magical. The theater felt alive again after sleeping for so many years. Harper moved through the crowd like a dancer. Her black dress flowed around her legs. Pink ribbon tied at her wrist caught the light. She carried trays of desserts that looked like tiny works of art. People stopped to stare at her creations. Our eyes met across the busy room. She smiled that dangerous smile I knew so well, the one that made my chest tight and my hands shake. But tonight felt different. Tonight the rules couldn't touch us anymore. The contract was finished, the building was saved. The client was happy with his restored theater, which meant Harper and I were free. Free to stop pretending, free to stop fighting what we both wanted, free to see where this fire between us would lead. The show started, and the lobby emptied. Voices and footsteps faded as people found their seats. The heavy curtains muffled the sound from the stage, left us alone in the golden quiet. Harper kicked off her shoes, let them fall to the floor with soft thuds. Her bare feet made no sound on the clean marble. She looked younger like this, more real, less like a goddess and more like a woman. "Come with me," she said. Her voice was soft but sure. She walked toward the stage door, without looking back. Knowing I would follow, knowing I couldn't stay away from her anymore. The stage was empty and dark. Old wooden floors creaked under our feet. The smell of fresh paint mixed with something sweet from her skin. She found the single light we'd used before, flipped the switch. Golden light poured over us like warm honey, made everything else disappear into black. Just her and me in a circle of brightness, like we were the only two people in the whole world. She stood in the center of the light and looked at me. Really looked like she was seeing me for the first time. Or maybe, like she was memorizing my face, storing it away somewhere safe in her heart. "We did it," she said quietly. Her voice held wonder and relief. "We waited. We were careful. We didn't break any rules." She laughed, and the sound filled the empty space, made the old theater feel young again. I nodded because words felt too small, too weak for this moment. For the way she looked standing there in gold light, for the way my heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. She took a step toward me, then another. Each step felt like forever, like time was moving through thick syrup. My breath caught in my throat, my hands started to shake. "Cole," she said, my name like a prayer, like something sacred and precious. She reached out one hand, palm up, fingers slightly curved, waiting for me to choose, to take what she was offering. I stared at her hand for a heartbeat. 2 heartbeats. 3. This was it. The moment everything would change. The moment we stopped dancing around each other and stepped into something real, something that could break us both. But looking at her face, I knew I was already broken. Had been since the first day I saw her with those cookies, since the first time she said my name, since the first time she made me forget about rules and contracts and being careful. I reached out and took her hand. Her fingers curled around mine like they belonged there, like we were two pieces of the same puzzle, finally clicking together. Her skin was warm and soft, real, not a dream or a wish anymore. The moment our hands touched, something electric shot up my arm, made my whole body wake up, made me feel more alive than I had in years. She must have felt it too because her eyes went wide. "Show me the part you want me to remember," I said. My voice came out rough and low, full of want and hope and fear all mixed together. She smiled, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. She lifted our joined hands and pressed them against her chest, right over her heart. I could feel it beating fast and strong under my palm, could feel the warmth of her skin through the thin fabric of her dress. "Start here," she whispered. Her eyes never left mine. "Because everything else is just color." Her heart hammered against my hand like it was trying to escape, trying to jump into my chest and make itself at home. Time stopped. The world stopped. Everything stopped except her heartbeat under my palm and her eyes looking into mine like she could see my soul, like she liked what she found there. I moved closer, so close I could feel her breath on my face, could see gold flecks in her dark eyes, could smell flowers and sugar and something uniquely her, something I wanted to breathe in forever. "Kiss me," she said, not begging or demanding, just asking for what we both wanted. What we'd been moving towards since that first day, since the first cookie and the first secret smile. I didn't need to be asked twice. I leaned down and touched my lips to hers, soft at first, careful, like she might disappear if I moved too fast, but she kissed me back with heat and sweetness. Her lips tasted like sugar and promises, like all the desserts she'd ever made rolled into one perfect flavor, like sunshine and honey and something spicy hiding underneath. I could have kissed her forever, and still wanted more. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard, both smiling like fools, both holding on to each other like we were afraid to let go. The golden light made everything feel magical, made everything feel possible. "Dinner," she said against my lips. Her breath tickled my skin, made me want to kiss her again. "Tomorrow night, just you and me." Her eyes sparkled with mischief, with promises that made my blood run hot. "What about the pink thing?" I asked. My voice sounded different now, deeper, more sure of myself than I'd been in weeks. She laughed, and the sound was pure joy. "I'll bring it," she said. Her smile was wicked and sweet at the same time. "The one you've been thinking about. The one that made you speechless." She pressed closer. "And I'll tell you the truth about where your mind went." My heart stopped completely. Started again. Stopped. "Harper," I managed to say. She just smiled wider, more dangerous, more beautiful than any woman had a right to be. "You guessed right," she whispered. Her lips brushed my ear, made me shiver all over. "And after dinner we'll take our time discovering just how right you were." We didn't leave the stage right away. The golden light felt too precious to waste, like stepping out would break some kind of spell. Harper sat on the edge of the stage. Her bare feet dangled in the air. She patted the space beside her. I sat down close enough to feel warmth from her body, close enough to catch that flower scent that followed her everywhere. She leaned against my shoulder like we'd been doing this for years, like this was normal instead of brand new. "Tell me something I don't know," she said quietly. Her fingers played with the pink ribbon at her wrist, wound it around and around like a nervous habit, but she didn't sound nervous. She sounded content. "Happy. When I was 10, I burned down my dad's tool shed," I said. The memory made me smile. Tried to build a campfire inside it. Thought I was being smart, safe from the rain. She laughed against my shoulder. The sound vibrated through my chest. "What happened?" she asked. She turned to look at my face. Her eyes were bright with curiosity, like a child hearing a bedtime story. I loved how she listened, like every word mattered. "Dad found me crying in the ashes," I said. "Expected him to be mad. Instead he handed me a hammer and said, 'We had work to do.' Spent the whole summer teaching me to build it back. Better than before." She was quiet for a moment, thinking. "He sounds like a good dad," she said finally. Mine taught me to cook after my mom left. Said a person who can make something sweet will never be completely alone. Her voice got soft on those last words, like she was sharing something precious, something that hurt to remember. I wanted to wrap my arms around her, protect her from old pain, but she kept talking. First thing I ever made was fudge, she said. Burned it black as coal, smoked up the whole kitchen. But Dad ate every piece and said it was the best burned fudge he'd ever tasted. She smiled at the memory. Lies taste sweet when they come from love. We sat in comfortable quiet after that, just breathing together, listening to the muffled sounds from the theater, applause and music bleeding through the walls. The world felt far away, like we were floating in our own private bubble. Harper stood up suddenly, walked over to her dessert cart that waited in the wings. She opened a small door I'd never noticed before, pulled out a box tied with pink silk ribbon, the same ribbon she wore on her wrist. For you, she said. She placed the box in my hands like it was made of glass. But don't open it until dinner tomorrow, and don't eat alone. Her eyes held mine, serious now. Promise me, what is it? I asked. The box was light, warm from being close to her body. It smelled like vanilla and secrets, like everything Harper touched became more interesting, more mysterious. Something pink, she said, with that wicked smile. Something I made just for you. Something that will tell you exactly what I've been thinking all these weeks. Her cheeks flushed the same color as her ribbon. I turned the box over in my hands, shook it gently. No sound. No clue about what waited inside. You're making me wait again, I said. But I wasn't complaining. The waiting had become part of our game. Part of what made everything sweeter. Good things are worth waiting for, she said. She reached out and traced the ribbon with one finger. Besides, anticipation is half the pleasure. The other half is seeing your face when you finally understand. She helped me to my feet. Her hands were warm and soft, real. Not a dream I might wake up from. The theater around us felt different now, less like a workplace, more like a church where we'd just gotten married. Ready to go? She asked. But she didn't move toward the exit, didn't let go of my hands. Like she was having the same trouble leaving as I was. Like stepping outside would end something beautiful. The lobby was empty now. Chairs pushed back. Programs scattered on the floor. The chandelier still glowed but softer, like it was tired from a long night. Our footsteps echoed in the quiet space. Harper stopped at her cart and gathered her things. Shoes in one hand, purse over her shoulder. The pink scarf she always carried. She moved with easy grace, like someone who was happy with how the night had turned out. We walked to the front doors together. The marquee lights outside cast moving shadows through the glass. Red and gold letters spelled out the theater's name. The word restraint blinked in bright white. Like a promise kept. Like a job well done. Harper stopped before we reached the exit, turned to face me in the colored light. Her face was beautiful in the glow, like a painting come to life. Like something too perfect for the real world. Thank you, she said quietly, for waiting, for being patient, for making this feel like something special, instead of something stolen. She reached up and touched my cheek. Her fingers were cool and gentle. Thank you for being worth the wait, I said. The words came from somewhere deep, somewhere honest. She smiled and stood on her toes, pressed a soft kiss to my lips, sweet and quick, like sealing an envelope. Outside, the night air was cool and clean. The city hummed around us with distant traffic. Late-night conversations from other people walking by. But we stayed close together, in our own private world. Harper unwound the pink ribbon from her wrist, took my hand and wound the silk around both our wrists, binding us together with gentle loops. The ribbon felt warm, soft, like a promise made of fabric and hope. Tomorrow, she whispered. Her breath tickled my ear, made my skin feel electric. After dinner, when you open the box, I'll tell you exactly what I meant. She paused. Let the words hang in the air, what I've wanted to show you all along. My heart hammered against my ribs. And if I can't wait that long? I asked. My voice was rough with want and curiosity, with the need to know her secrets, all of them. You will, she said with confidence, with the smile of someone who knew exactly how much power she held. Because the best things come to those who let the mystery build. She squeezed my hand. And Cole, yeah? Where your mind went when I said pink. You were right the first time. Her eyes sparkled with mischief and promise. And the second. And probably the third too. Like this video, subscribe and let me know. Have you ever had someone tease you with a mystery like Harper did? What was it?